Wow, now there's only 2 minutes to go get a beer.
Let me see. Good to hear. Let's hope your execution matches your enthusiasm. I've got a job for you if you're looking to keep busy. Here are the details.
And greetings, and welcome to the Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG. Not hearing me. That's interesting. How about now? Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, hold on. The stream was hearing me.
There we go. We got
weren't.
sound on Twitch.
Yeah, the issue was you weren't hearing me, but the stream was hearing me. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and welcome back to another week of the Soul Citizens. And we're here today with the topic of tips and tricks. And I'm here, first of all, let me start with my right, which is your left, to the man himself, FC Fastcart. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me again.
Good. What do you mean, thank you for having you? You're here just as much as I am. What are you talking about?
Trying to be polite here, okay? I've been acting up on stream, acting a fool, and I'm trying to be on my best behavior.
Okay, fair enough. And we also have back as one of our guests. He's been here before. You guys know him as Kai Zen. Kai, how are you?
Hello. I'm fantastic. How you doing, Griff?
Doing good. Good to have you back on the show again. Those of you guys who don't know who Kai is, I'm gonna let Kai tell some of you who he is and what he does. Kai, tell folks about you and Black Sky Legion.
Well, we are a group of miscreants that are made up largely of Marines in their underwears, flying spaceships and drinking beer. We play Star Citizen, No Man's Sky. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Mars Horizon.
Yeah.
We
You've
play
been liking it.
Elite and all of these different things. We're just chilling and having fun.
You have been
Hello and happy 4th of July, everybody.
Yeah, man. Same to you. Same to you. You've been talking about that Mars Horizon thing like crazy. Like I did go take a look at it. My brain's just not ready yet. I'm still immersed in a couple other things, and it's like, oh, I can't pick this up. So I joked around last week, but I have been my OCD has been soothed by Power Wash Simulator. That's what I've been doing is power washing stuff. So I had to find something that's completely that you don't have to use your brain for. And this thing is stressing me out too. So I don't know if that's the best thing for me to be doing. But anyway, that's what I've been doing recently. Look, we're gonna jump into it for this week. You guys make sure that you guys check out Black Sky Legion. They're on Friday evenings. They have really great conversations talking about he didn't get all into this, but they cover all the stuff, especially space genre. They talk about TV programs also and movies, but they really focus in on the games that many of us are interested in playing. And so check them out. They're on Twitch and YouTube Friday evenings. I think my time is 7 p.m. Central, but you guys come on. What is it, Eastern, 8 o'clock? Is that your time, Kai?
8 Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, Friday nights. Yeah, and like you said, we talk about NASA and SpaceX and TV shows and movies and video games and all of the stuff. Books. We had a big review of Project Hail Mary last week. Phenomenal book. I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Yep.
I'm seeing in the chat, Control FC Kai if you can. Is that a sound thing? Is my sound high or low or something?
No.
He's just telling you to keep somebody wants somebody to keep somebody under control is all they're saying. So you're all right.
Right on.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to jump right into it. This week, our show is on tips and tricks. This kind of came up because even though I've been playing Star Citizen now for, too long, let's just say it's been 8 years at least. There are still things in the game I'm learning, still little nuances, little workarounds, all types of stuff that I realize that I do all the time and don't think twice about. Then there are some that I don't know that I still go into my Discord with my org and ask, and people say, oh, just do this. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I'd known that 8 months ago. All types of cool stuff out there. 8 years ago. Yeah, exactly. There are things in relation to how I can make the performance of Star Citizen better. Things that I can do to make my gameplay experience better. Little simple mistakes that you can avoid doing. That's kind of what this whole show is going to be about. And we're going to rely on the expertise of Fastcart, Kai, and myself to share the things that we can tell you. And hopefully, chat, there are some things that you'll know. You can put those things in the chat to help other players too. This is going to be a great guide for people who are new to the game, who maybe just got in recently. It's also going to be a refresher for maybe some of you who've been in the game since the very beginning. Hopefully, we'll share some stuff with you that you will say, wow, I didn't know that, and I'm definitely going to look into it. And hopefully, it'll make your game experience better. We are in update 3.17.1 right now, getting ready to go to 0.2, which is in PTU. And there are still things that we can share, even going into this new patch, that we think will be helpful for you to be able to get around in the game a little bit more. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First off, let's start at one of the places that a lot of people don't think about. And I'm going to have a real big speech about this in a second. And that's dealing with something that everybody has to have, which is hardware. The things that we've got listed that we're going to talk about right now are the SSD, the GPU, the RAM, and the controllers. And we want to talk about like what's needed to play the game. Let me start out with, I'm going to start with Kai because you're the guest. Kai, talk to me about your experience with hardware when it comes to the game. Were any of these things that we have listed on the screen a factor for you? We'll cover controllers later because I know there's a lot of variety there. But when we talk about the GPU, CPU, SSD, give me some thoughts on it. Because we should have put even CPU out there. I should have put that out there. Any words, thoughts about hardware requirements for the game?
So I bought Star Citizen somewhere around, I don't know, 3.6 or 7. And I went to play it. And my computer at the time, I was on a potato computer. I didn't have an SSD drive, and it was not going to be a thing. So I literally just said, oh, well, that's $40 I wasted for now. And whatever, I'll get to it when I get to it. And, you know, a year or two later, whatever, bought myself a new computer that could run it super no problem. And started playing it around 3.12 and had a great time. As far as the actual, concerns, CPU, GPU, this, that, and the other, the biggest thing by far I would tell everyone is you have to put Star Citizen on an SSD or don't play it. It's just going to be a hassle. It's not going to be worth it. Now, there's a lot of things that they're continuing to do with Vulkan and all the stuff that's coming up in the next couple of months where it's becoming progressively just more and more playable. And I think a lot of people are intimidated by Star Citizen and expect that it's just not playable on their computers, and would be shocked to find that it runs just fine on a lot of their computers, with the one huge asterisk of put it on an SSD or don't play it. It's just, if you can't, and I think 99% of everybody has SSDs these days, but if you don't, just don't do it, because you're gonna have a bad time and you're gonna blame the game for what's not the game's fault. It just needs to be on an SSD.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that there have been people who, we actually did a post not too long ago on our Saturday show talking about why do you have to have an SSD? Why is this such a big deal? There are a lot of players that still play on HDDs, right? There are a lot of people who have their whole freaking Steam account on an SSD because it's just a lot of games and stuff. But for Star Citizen, load-in times are a big deal. And one of the problems that a lot of people have with the game is when things don't load in quickly enough, there are things that will happen in the game that will become a cascade effect. Now, mind you, performance is definitely going to be affected. Frame rates are going to be affected. But there's so much data that's being pumped out for this game to the client that having it on a hard drive will just make, as Kai said, your experience just not a real good one. Now, back in the day when we all first got into this game, most of us were on hard drives.
Oof.
And it worked semi well.
This is back when SSDs were barely out there or very expensive, and most of us tolerated, but the game was much smaller. We were talking about just the hangar module or just Arena
like
Commander.
15 gig versus 50 gig.
Exactly. So it is a huge requirement. FC, you could talk about this a little bit, because you just within the last year did a major upgrade to your computer. Your computer was 10 years old. And let me say something about that. When this game first came out, Chris Roberts, the initial thing was that to run Star Citizen, you would have to have a high-end rig. That was going to be it. There was no, medium ground or whatever. As time went on, he said he wanted to make it accessible so that people who had a pretty average computer could play the game and have a good gaming experience. But I'm going to go real world here with fastcart, because fastcart can tell you the performance differences between his computer from literally when he started signing up for Star Citizen until just most recent. So why don't you tell him a little bit about how your performance changes were between those two computers?
I had like a 10-year-old PC, like you said, but my graphics card was 970, so that was like 2016, so maybe 5 years old. So I had a pretty decent graphics card, but it wasn't the best at the time, especially like a year ago. And I was getting 25, 20 FPS, depending on the area. And I had my game on an SSD, thankfully. There was a time when sometime when I would run out of space on my SSD, I would put the Star Citizen on my hard drive between patches and leave it alone. But this one time, or a few times, I forgot that I put it I left it on a hard drive, and the experience was not awful. But I noticed I thought it was a bad patch rather than my hard drive, because it took forever for certain scenes to load in. The initial start time was like, I want to say 2 minutes instead of 45 seconds or whatever. So it was really noticeable, but it did work, but I wouldn't say it was quite playable.
Okay.
But then like last year, like you said, I went to a 5950X AMD. I went to a 2080 Super NVIDIA graphics card. And 64 gigabytes of RAM. Oh yeah, the other thing is about RAM. They say 16 gigabytes is, minimum. I want to say like maybe don't do 8, and whatever you do, don't try 8, but maybe 32 is probably optimal for this. But 16 can get you by. But yeah, it was like night and day for me. I noticed, because I had a new graphics card, there were certain effects that I didn't see on the 970 that I saw on 2080, and it was a way better experience. I was getting like 30 FPS. It increased my FPS, but now because of 317.1, it's like 60 or 50 FPS.
Okay.
Yeah, that's key. It's moving up. It's moving up a good bit here in the last patch, and over the next 2 patches, it's going to move up a lot. So, Griff, what have been your experiences with hardware?
That's what I was sitting here looking at. I was trying to pull up some notes here. For me, hardware-wise, I can't remember. It's been so long now. If I want to talk about what CPU I had, I've always been using AMD. I wasn't doing Intel. I was doing a 3470 or 7. I forget which CPU it was for a while. And I was using a 1070 card. And about 2 years ago, I upgraded to a 2080 Super. And I remember in 2016, I was running, like fastcart said, I was running with about 16 gig of RAM. And I noticed by 2018 that it seemed like the game was slowing down. My performance was just weird. And there weren't a lot of major patches in that time frame because we were still in the 3.0 series. And so I remember I didn't get an SSD yet, but what I did, I did buy an SSD. And I noticed that the game was lagging more, but then I went from 16 to 32 gig. And I noticed, honestly, a 50% improvement in my game within that 2-year period. Because in 2016, it was running smooth. 2018, it was funky. Upgraded, boom. Everything, particle stuff was better. Everything was better. Then, like I said, 2 years ago, I upgraded again. This time I went to 64 gig of RAM on my computer. This was a little bit more for future proofing. And it runs immaculately. Now, the one thing I do want to say is this. I've noticed, and please, guys, I'm not saying this as Bible. I'm just telling you my experience. Going from 32 gig of RAM and a 1070 card. When I moved to the greater CPU, my CPU was a 3950 Mac. It was 3950X, 3950X. And then I'm running 64 gig of RAM, and I'm running M2 drives now, SSDs. One of the things that I don't suffer from, that I hear people talk about all the time, is I don't die running up and down stairs. I don't fall through the floor off elevators. And there's one other thing. There's 3 things in particular that I hear people talk about all the time. Now, is that because of the hardware I have? I don't know. I don't think it's just because of that. Things such as your internet speeds. There's a whole lot of other things that could impact that. It may be just because I live in a good place with good internet service where I don't have those loading issues. But I will say this, the higher my hardware has been, there's some things that I don't experience that I hear other people talk about all the time. And I don't know if that's because of the rigs difference or internet speed or what. But I will tell you, some people will tell, you also have to be careful about chasing technology versus chasing this game. This game is always going to be getting upgraded and things are going to be happening. Kai, let me ask you this. What's your advice?
Yes,
Should
sir.
a person spend a lot of money on a game that's constantly in development just because they want to get the optimum out of it? Or is it just like, dude, get what you need to get right now and just hold on because it's going to keep changing over time?
So I want to give a shout out in the chat. I just saw Wolf Dragon said, "Hey guys, Wolf Dragon is my tech guy."
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. Like I said, I described myself earlier as a Marine in my underwear drinking beer. I don't understand computers. I am an idiot with computers. I know I have a 3080. I got it like 2 weeks after they came out. I have a 3080.
Nice.
And I think I have 128 RAM, whatever that is. I don't like when you were talking about, I have an AMD 4732, whatever. I don't know what I have. I know that there's Intel and AMD. I have no clue what I have. Like literally, when it comes to computer stuff, I get on TeamSpeak and Wolf does it. Like he organizes all of the stuff. So I don't even like, I would be the worst person on the planet to say like, hey, what's the best way to go about doing, like, I don't know, man. I just do what people tell me to do.
Fair enough.
I would say if you get a lot of enjoyment out of Star Citizen, maybe try to have like more kind of bleeding edge of the things of the CPU, GPU, DDR, whatever stuffs. But like, also at the same time, you have to understand like Star Citizen is still years from coming out. So don't blow 10 grand on like the cutting edge, bleeding edge tech and think like, well, this is good because like whatever is the bleeding edge, whether you're talking about a stereo or a television or a computer, like 2 years from now, the bleeding edge stuff that's like 5 times overpriced is going to be like literally 10 times cheaper, like 2 years from now. And the game's not even going to be out then. So just like kind of chill and like have some stuff, but like don't build a computer for Star Citizen now. Build a computer for like top end games, and it should be okay enough with Star Citizen is my thought.
Okay.
Sorry, can I make a point? Like, see if I can remember it real quick. Yeah, like Griffin said, when the game was first announced, 2012. Chris Roberts said that he wanted to make the game for a top-end computer, but later on he said a medium-tier computer should be fine. So, like when I first started in 2014, my computer was probably low end back then, so it wasn't running as well. But I noticed that it didn't really it did teeter off a bit, but it didn't teeter off as much as one would expect to for a game trying to keep up with current time. So it definitely the case that now you can run on less hardware now than you could back in the day. Yeah. So yes, I agree with Kai. You don't need to spend like $3,000 on a computer every 2 years to keep up with this game.
Yeah,
if that.
Let me real quick, Kai. Your tech guy, Wolf Dragon, is in Discord, and he says that he'd be willing to jump in real quick and toss in some thoughts, if that's okay. Is that cool?
He would give you way better info than I ever would, because I don't know nothing.
Yeah, let's bring Wolf in real quick. Hey, Wolf, how are you? He was here. I stepped away, baby.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, there
How's
he
it
is.
going?
Good.
Hey,
Yeah, Wolf, there's something you want to share real quick about that?
Yeah, so, I mean, when it comes to buying a PC, let's just start with the fact that not everybody knows how to build a PC. Let's go on to whatever website, a bunch of different ways they can do it. They can go to like Dell.com or any of the more curated, like, better ways of doing it. When they select what they want for RAM and stuff like that, most people don't have a damn clue. And there's reasons for that, and that's fine. Your normal entry-level rig, 8 gigs of RAM. Is that going to run Star Citizen right now? Oh, definitely not. It's not optimized for it. It needs way more than that. Rule of thumb for a gamer build is you'll start at 16 gigs. It gives you plenty of overhead for doing whatever you want, especially like yourselves that do streaming and whatnot, which on top of playing whatever games while you're doing the stream, you need that extra memory to do stuff. 32 gigs is sort of regarded as like the gold standard. And this is still regardless of whatever you have for your graphics card. Obviously, the more better your graphics card, the better playing your games are going to be, period. Until you get something that's not really well written and optimized for it, which Star Citizen and many other games have gone through their growing pains, and that's perfectly fine. Star Citizen in specific has gotten way better. When you start talking 64, 128 gigs of RAM, you're talking systems that are fundamentally not meant for gaming, but can do it stupid well because they just have stuff to spare.
Right.
You're talking render rigs at that point. No, nobody's doing that.
And let me say this too. The reason why my 64 gig is there is because I do multitask and do video production. So I do want to put that on as a caveat. It wasn't because of Star Citizen. So I just want to make sure that
you
that
have
is the deal.
The use case to use it.
Right, exactly. And I'm not recommending people get 64. That's why I was saying I'm not
me
making that as Bible. I was
just
telling people that that's what the deal was. But you're absolutely right. Yeah. So what would you recommend for somebody who's coming in to play Star Citizen? They really enjoy it and they say, I want to get the best experience, but also bang for the buck. What would you say for GPU, RAM, and CPU? What would you look at?
All right, let me go over here and punch in DX Diag real fast.
Make it real fast because I got 40 other topics to cover.
Oh yeah, no kidding. So back when I first bought Star Citizen, which was about 18 months or so ago, I had a RX 570 video card, which is sub bad tier. It didn't work out so well. An older GPU, everything was limited. So I needed to buy something new then. What I have currently is what I would argue to be overkill. I've got a 6800 XT video card, which is going to be the the 3080 equivalent.
Okay.
I don't think you need a 3080. A 3000 series video card, even the low tier, would work just fine.
Okay.
But to be honest, if you've can get your hands on a 2080 Ti, you'd be golden. And with the prices of GPUs doing what they've done, some people haven't, some people don't. Spend your money accordingly. I'm not your dad. But I will say that you need to get a CPU that's one of the more modern ones. Take your pick. Don't focus on core count because nobody's doing multi-threaded really well.
Right.
Even when multi-thread comes in, as long as you've got 8 cores, you're overkill. 6 cores are probably going to be just fine by the time multi-threading and working parallel processing is actually quote-unquote the norm. And again, 16 gigs of RAM is a good starting point. And when you're doing a system build, if you can get 16 gigs of RAM, put it on 2 sticks, not on 1, so that you can split across that dual channel stuff. And that also gives you the ability later on, provided it's not too much later, you can buy the same RAM and throw another 16 gigs in side by side and give yourself 32 on dual channel, and you've not broken any rules.
Okay.
So you've not gone beyond budget, but you've also given yourself the ability to upgrade for the future without having to rebuild a rig.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Just
Wolf
my 2
Dragon.
cents.
No, that's great. Thank you. That he gave you guys a really good place to start for those of you who, like they said, want to invest and making sure you get a rig that's. I think that those are great numbers that he gave. They're optimal. Wolf Dragon, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for dropping in. Okay.
Thank you.
Glad to help.
Great tech help. Thank you.
Before we move on, I just want to cover real quick. Don't forget, don't spend all your money on just the core components of the PC. You also have to think about your keyboard, your joystick, or whole top, or whole size, whatever your peripherals. So
which we're going to talk about next.
Those either.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that next. In fact, thank you, Wolf Dragon, again for helping us out with that. Kai, thank you. You got a good tech guide there. Let me say one thing to you people who have just tons of money. You have nothing else to do with your money.
Give it to me.
Let me tell you what my experience was, and I don't have tons of money, but I'm going to tell you what my experience was. Remember I told you the rig I had before and the rig I have now. It was weird. Kai, this is a piece of story that you'll appreciate.
Okay.
Before I built my new computer, I logged out, and some people have heard this story before. I logged out in the reclaimer. Okay. I logged out. Got rid of the old computer, built the new one, came back in 4 days later. I saw stuff in the reclaimer that I'd never seen before.
Nice.
There were things such as particle effects, dust flying around, all types of weird stuff that I didn't see before. Now, as somebody who has invested heavily in this game, let me tell you how I felt. I felt like for 2 to 3 years, all the money I had invested in this game, I was not being able to see and appreciate because my computer couldn't handle it. Does that make sense?
I think
so.
That's
So I'm saying, so from an investment standpoint and feeling like, am I getting my value out of the game for what I have spent? Now, mind you, if you've only spent $45 on the game, don't go out and build no super rig. Okay.
Right.
You get my point. I'm saying I've invested enough money in the game that for me, it was justifiable to get the optimum rig finally. Because normally I don't buy optimum rigs. Normally I buy a rig based upon my budget. This particular time, I said, I'm buying what I want. And what I did get back from Star Citizen was stuff that I never expected visually, graphically, because I spent that money. And I'm not telling people to go out and spend stupid money. You are too fast, because you did the same thing,
I'm the
right?
same way, because like I said before, I did my first PC in 10 years, literally 2011 to 2021. So I've upgraded I put in an SSD and I put in a new graphics card, and that's about it. A new hard drive sometimes whenever I run out of space. But other than that, it's basically a 10-year-old computer. So I built my new computer thinking I'm not going to build another computer or upgrade for like 3 to 5 years, or I'm definitely going to keep the most core components, but I'll probably upgrade the graphics card again. I've never bought a top-end CPU with 5950X. Never done that before. I've never bought a top-end graphics card, 2080 Super. Never done that before. I've always kept to the 70s, like the 470, 670, 970. I've always done that. Never bought an 80 before. So I'm keeping this. I'm trying to future-proof myself when I built this. So if you're investing, that's a good point you're making.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say the last thing I would say on this subject is this. If money is a concern for you, like I think it is for 90% of the people out there, like it is for me, the one piece of advice I would give is, I think maybe there are some people that play Star Citizen that will buy multiple $800 to $1,000 ships, and they might be playing on some hardware that's got some age to it. And I would just say that if money is a factor for you, then I would strongly recommend that you make sure that while you keep, I'm not your dad, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, but while you keep doing, buying ships and doing things to support the development of the game, if that's important to you, that you also make sure that you put money into keeping your hardware up to date. If money is not a factor to you, if you're stupid rich, let me just say, St. Jude's Children Cancer Research, go for it. Love you.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay. All right, let's hit one more area. We've hit on the top 3 here that you guys see on the screen. Actually, 4, because we talked about CPUs too. But controllers, fastcart, what recommended controllers do you use? I mean, for you, this is just, what do you think is good things to have for Star Citizen?
For me, I typically use a stick and keyboard. I don't try to use my mouse too much, but I try to keep my hand on a stick as much as possible.
Okay.
But that's only because I'm one-handed.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about software later on. We can get more into voice attack, but that's the other thing.
Okay. Right. We're still controllers. Kai?
Can we take a second to really focus on that? And I don't want to in any way make fastcart uncomfortable or single him out in a negative way. I'm trying to single him out in a positive way. For people that are differently abled, that have different mobility issues, and or some of us that are playing it are older, we have eyesight issues. Me personally, I'm differently abled in that I'm partially colorblind, and fastcart has different I would say probably like hand manipulation or whatever situations going on. Like, I think it's important that we highlight the fact that Star Citizen, as far as I'm aware, and I don't know all games, but Star Citizen really goes out of its way to give you lots of controller options and different options for people that have different kind of capabilities or mobility issues, eyesight issues, hopefully going forward down the road, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, I just wanted to highlight that fastcart, it was an important thing. Fastcart says, hey, I basically operate one-handed, so I use a stick and a keyboard. Like, that might not make sense for a lot of people who don't have the same mobility issues, but it's very cool that is a thing.
Absolutely. In fact, many of you guys may remember several years ago, fastcart was highlighted in one of CIG's videos at CitizenCon, where he talked about that, right, fastcart? You mentioned about the fact that you were able to... That
was 2016, I think.
2016,
right, that was one of the cool things, that you could play the game as a person who has that disability or the ability. But the fact that they highlighted that, which is great. And he's not the only one. There have been other people, fastcart will tell you.
I got to give a shout out to Leap Feet. He plays with just his feet, Star Citizen. Kick ass, yeah.
Absolutely.
And that was the year, let's not forget, that was the year 2016 was the year that literally, because fastcart needed to get a new chair, he was like, I'm not going to CitizenCon this year. And the community pitched in and was like, yeah, you are.
Yeah. Very
I
cool.
appreciate that.
Very cool.
I'm still very grateful for the community for that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Kai, what about you? Controllers that you would recommend?
So I have twin Virpil Constellation Alpha, Delta, whichever one is the newer sticks on VPC Warbird bases with dual stream decks. My right hand has access to a mouse on a pad. My left hand has access to this keypad, whatever. I am stupid overkill. This setup, it's mounted onto what do you call it? Secret Labs chair. Everything is mounted. The system was designed by Wolf Dragon from before, who literally welded 2 bases that fit onto the standard Monster Tech bases that hold my 2 Streamlabs that hover just above my left and right hand off the sticks.
Okay.
This is like $4,000 worth of stupidity. I can tell you this, before I had this, I had an X52 Pro that also was phenomenal. I mean, this is better, I'm not going to lie, but this is $4,000.
Right.
That setup that I had before for $250 was like 80% as good.
Yeah.
I cannot enough recommend the X52 Pro for people on a budget who are like, hey, I want to, get into this.
Yeah.
If you happen to be single like me and you don't have a wife and kids to yell at you about it, then yeah, for sure, spend $4,000 on Monster Tech mounts and twin Virpil sticks.
Yeah.
And can I just say I didn't spend too much on my stick. I just have a Thrustmaster T16000. That seems to be like the entry model for sticks.
Yeah.
And just one. I don't have the 2-hand, obviously.
Well, I was gonna say that the T1600 is, and one of the reasons why we're mentioning controllers to you all, and mind you, we're talking about Star Citizen. We're not talking about any other gaming. But what you do find is everybody at some point, when you come in, just about probably everybody's at mouse and keyboard when it first starts. They might move to a joystick, 1 or 2 joysticks, throttle. Some people go whole size where they've got 2 sticks. Some people have got 2 sticks, a keyboard and a mouse. What we're saying is that you can get a better experience from the game the more you expand. I was playing HOTAS for about 2 years. Then I stopped. I had the T16000 one with the throttle, and then I went back to mouse and keyboard for the last 3 years. And just this last year, I went finally and got VKBs, and now I'm doing dual stick. And so, true enough, this is another one of those things where we talk about things that are in the game that you don't know about. When I mentioned about that graphics card and CPU change, how I saw things in the game, we can tell you hardware-wise the same thing too. If you step up and expand your hardware opportunities, some people are using pedals, sticks, all types of stuff. You'll find out that there's more to the game than what meets the eye. So talk to people, plenty of videos out there, plenty of stuff. If mouse and keyboard, I was flying with a guy a couple of weeks ago. I would have swore he was flying with sticks, pedals, everything. He said, no, Griff, I'm doing mouse and keyboard. This guy was winging it like I couldn't believe with a freaking mouse and keyboard. Our point is find what works for you and what can maximize your gameplay. And you may find that your gaming experience is better and better and better. Okay, let's move on. We got to get out of this hardware area and let's jump into the next one, which is software. We're talking about Game Glass, talk about Voice Attack and HCS packs. Kai, are you using any of those at all?
Okay, I have all 3 of these.
Okay.
I don't really use them in Star Citizen.
Fair enough. Yeah, a lot of people have bought them and tried them out, and they don't do it. That's fine. Fastcart, what about you?
Voice Attack and HCS Voice Pack for me. I haven't tried Game Glass yet, but Voice Attack is my main thing.
Okay. Voice Attack works out good for you. No problems with it.
Yes, and plus also HCS Voice Pack just had an update for 3.17.1, so they may have to do another one for 2. But HCS Voice Pack typically, whenever there's major changes in the keybinds and stuff like that, they put out an update. So I appreciate them, and the updates are free. Once you buy the thing, they'll keep it up to date. And maybe every 4 to 6 months, but they typically do a great job. And so
yeah. Voice
the
Attack.
One thing I would
go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go.
The one word of warning I would give is if you're interested in Voice Attack, I would say very, very strongly get it now, because they've literally just posted a thing saying that in the next couple of months they're going to switch. The way that they have it set up now is you get Voice Attack, so you can get the Worf or the Kirk or the different voice packs. My favorite is I forget her name. I can't think of her name just at the moment, but there's a chick that she is an astrophysicist that works for NASA that was part of the Cassini program. That she has her voice pack on there. She's my favorite. I have like 8 voice packs, but on their website they've said they're transitioning right now. The way they have it set up is if you buy a voice pack, you get it for all the games that they support. They're gonna just switch now, coming up soon, to where you have to buy it for each game. So if you buy the Cassini chick for Star Citizen, you won't have her for Elite or vice versa.
But before
so
you got them
if
all.
you're interested, get them real quick because they're about to switch.
Yep.
And I think they're having a buy one get another one half off. Like you get 2 games for 1.5 for the price of 1.5. I believe. Maybe that ended recently.
They do it in the summer usually. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, just so you guys will know, Voice Attack is a program that you do buy separately. So you get Voice Attack. That runs around $9, $10 US.
Yeah, it's super cheap.
And then after that, you now, by the way, when you use Voice Attack, one of the problems that people don't do or don't like to do is the training. The voice training is important. Spend time doing the training. The more you train, keep doing it, keep doing it. When you're doing nothing, just do the voice training. It will make your recognition much better. It'll recognize okay, but trust me, if you do the training, I mean, do it at least 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. You'll make the experience better. The game will get used to the nuances of how you speak, and you won't have to repeat yourself or yell things out because it starts to understand you a lot better. For the HCS,
another thing is don't use like RTX voice or NVIDIA broadcast or maybe even
anything that's noise canceling. Yeah, anything that's going to do any type of audio management
can mess it up.
Absolutely. The HCX packs, as Kai mentioned, a lot of celebrity names behind them stars: Tom Baker, William Shatner, Nemo, all these different people. Find a voice out there that you like. They're all really good. You can combine the voices, have a crew of people that'll speak to you. This helps with the immersion of playing the game. I do want to go back to Game Glass. Game Glass, as you guys know, is made up by some folks who are actually Star Citizen backers. They created, using your phone or your tablet, a touch display that matches your MFDs. You can customize it. You can make them the way you want to, even, which is really cool. There's some pre-made templates that are already there. But if you want to have something much more tactile, not monkeying around with a keyboard or keypad, but all this stuff's laid out where if you're a miner, you can have just the mining screen there. You can bring out your laser, your consumables, all that stuff right there. It's really, really cool. And it even works on a cell phone if you don't have a tablet. And it's actually manageable. It's not so small that you can't see and touch things. So take a look at Game Glass. Take a look at Voice Attack. Take a look at your ACX packs for software. These are all things just to enhance the immersion of your gameplay in the game. And FC, go ahead.
And people are suggesting some kind of voices that they would love to hear. Like Blues is recommending he wants Clint Eastwood, please. If you have a suggestion of someone you want to hear, submit it to ACS Voice Pack, and if they get enough people, you never know. Maybe they'll make a voice pack out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
In response to your statement, Fastcart, and in response to Bluesy, there actually is one that's like a High Plains drifter. It's basically a dude doing a Clint Eastwood impersonation, and he's like, hey,
I forgot who it is.
You want me to deploy weapons? Let's go, cowboy. It's so there, that actually is there already. Go check it out.
Yep. Jay,
yes, Dr. Eileen
Mm-hmm.
Perez. Oh my God, I absolutely love her.
Yep. Thank
she
you.
is who I want to be when I grow up.
Thanks for throwing that in, Jay. Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's move on past software now. Let's jump into the website, the RSI website, the terror that it is that people are always scared about. The website has been through its transitions and changes. In the beginning, some people went to the website, it was no problem, but a lot of people went to the website and it was just difficult to understand. So we want to highlight some things that we want to tell you to take a look at, because it's very easy to miss these areas and not think about them, even if you've been around for a while. There is a frequently asked questions section on the computer. On the website. And if you go there, it will tell you how to start a ship, how to take off, how to jump into quantum, how to do all that stuff is there on the website. They also have put little videos on there, the links to tell you where you can go to learn these things. The Galactopedia. That is our in-game encyclopedia of information that is constantly being expanded all the time. Do not discount this. The Galactopedia is the thing to tie you into the lore of the game. Some of this stuff you really want to start learning and finding out about, because as the game and the universe expands, that's where you're going to find the information. You may run across an object one day and find something in some loot box or on some derelict or somewhere and think it's a piece of junk, only to find out that it was something that was extremely valuable. But if you don't know the lore and know about these items, it may be something that you will miss out on. And they've got everything from the different cultures, the races, the ships, all types of stuff in there. Different landing zones, planets, moons, all that stuff is in there. After that, we've got the roadmap. You guys know about that in the progress tracker. If you want to find out about the progress of the game, where it moves, go look at that. The Arc Star map. We're doing a show next week on the Arc Star map. If you want to know about the systems, where there are wormholes, jump points, the different moons, atmospheres, all that stuff tied into the star map. And then, of course, the telemetry. We were talking about our rigs earlier to find out where your computer lands in performance. If your computer can run the game well or most optimized, you can use the telemetry page. Let me jump to you, Kai. Any of these you want to focus on in particular that stand out for you?
Let me run through the list quickly.
Okay.
I'm prefacing this by saying I want y'all to know this. If this is the first time you're seeing Star Citizen, or Soul Citizens rather, or first time you're hearing my voice, know this. I love Star Citizen. I am a fanboy of Star Citizen. Just know that. Having said that, the website is hot garbage. It is, and so that's why I wanted to preface this by saying, like, because I'm about to get real with this, and I think, like, I need you to know I love Star Citizen. I'm not trying to talk trash.
Mm-hmm.
The website is hot garbage. The frequently asked questions is okay. The Galactopedia is absolute gold, but you got to dig for it.
Mm-hmm.
The roadmap is not a roadmap. The roadmap is showing you it's a progress tracker that doesn't track progress. It literally just says, "Hey, we're working on that thing." That doesn't tell you anything about progress.
Mm-hmm.
The star map is a dumpster fire. The telemetry, no, it is.
Really?
The star, no, wait. I'm sorry. The website star map. Let me
we're talking the website. Yeah, we're talking the website star map.
Okay. The website star map is gold.
Okay.
The star map in
On
game,
the game.
is a dumpster fire.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thanks for clarifying. You're like,
No. The star map on the website is actually awesome. And if we could get that in game, I would give my left.
Yes.
Never mind.
Right.
Telemetry is actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's going down the thing. Now, here's the thing. I kind of get why this all is what it is because they're spending their time and effort focusing on developing the game, not the website.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you right now, I would be absolutely shocked if 6 months to a year before launch, they don't start really putting time and effort into the website and upgrading all of this stuff, because the star map and the telemetry are gold. Everything else you just listed there is meh at best.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's because the game is in alpha. They're focusing on getting this stuff. Like, you wouldn't want to really build a phenomenal website and have it linked to a lot of stuff that's dead ends, because as they were doing game dev, it dead ended, so they didn't go with it. So like, this is just a thing you have to know. If you love Star Citizen, as I do, you just have to know that you're putting up with a substandard website for now.
Yeah. While
they put smartly, rightly so, more time and effort into the website stuff or the game development stuff. And absolutely, yes, their keybinds, Wolf Dragon in the chat, their keybinds are also hot garbage right now. It's literally in game when you pull up the keybinds, it like there's 9 different places that set the same keybinds and they overlap and conflict and whatever. But that's because it's not done cooking yet. They're baking the cake still. When they get to the point where the cake is baked, then they need to go through and clean up all of the duplications and the conflictions and the whatever. But as it stands now,
it needs work. It needs work.
It's you know what? I think I would say this, Griff. It's alpha.
It's alpha, and it's better than it was. I mean, not to be funny. When we got this, we were like, "Oh my god, this is so much better." But overall, you're absolutely right. It has not progressed in the way that it should have, and I agree with you 100%. As more players are coming in and as the game becomes more player ready, then yes, you're right. The website has got to step up to that as well. You know,
but that star map is gold in in the website. In game, the star map.
Oh no, we're just talking about the website. Yeah, absolutely.
The star map is something you scrape off the bottom of your shoe, but in the website, the star map is gold.
Right.
That's how you really feel, Kai.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, fastcart. Real quick, give us your thoughts on the website. Any of those areas in particular you want to focus on?
I'll focus on the star map and probably the telemetry, but for the star map, like I think it came out in 2016, 2017. That star map on the website, it won a whole bunch of awards. It was like a game, a mini game in itself, so to speak, and it still holds up, and they try to keep it up to date whenever the lore doesn't match the star map. So I really like the star map. Back in the day, they used to have thank you for the follow. They used to have a lawmaker's guide to the galaxy, and they used the star map exclusively for those. So I really like the star map. Telemetry kind of ties into what we were talking about before when it comes to hardware, because you can find if you're thinking about pricing, putting together a PC, and you want to try to fit something in your budget, you can see the performance of a particular build on telemetry, and see if you think you can handle that financially and handle that gameplay wise, aesthetically.
Absolutely.
So the telemetry is gold too, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Can I just mention, you talk about how the website has progressed? It used to be back in the day, they used to list all the packages on one place, and people were saying, "Wait, a $20,000 package? They want to spend that much on this game?" And they got rid of that. And I think that the website has definitely improved over the years.
Well, let's be clear. They didn't get rid of it; they hid it.
They hid it, yeah. So you had to spend a certain amount of money. Also, we forgot about guides. Guides are important. They help people to play the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why. Go ahead, Kai.
No, I just real quick and briefly, it wasn't listed here, but Spectrum gets a lot of hate. I think there's absolute gold in Spectrum. I think you have to have a little bit of whatever, but I do feel like largely Spectrum is really, really underrated. There's good information, there's good interaction. Let me tell you something. For people who might think oh, we're not getting enough contact from the devs or whatever, as someone who came from Elite Dangerous, I can tell you the level of engagement in Spectrum between CIG employees, key employees who go on there and give actual information is amazing. I love it.
No, you're right. It is a good source of information that you can find out there. The devs do communicate with the community through there, which a lot of people miss out on. Many of them will respond to stuff just kind of spontaneously. So I definitely recommend. And the other thing that's nice is that I do like is the fact that they have it broken down by if you're interested in certain manufacturers, certain ships, certain topics that are broken down. So yeah, definitely check out Spectrum. We should have put it on this list, but I dismissed it because it's a common thing, and I was more focused on the things that people don't necessarily take a look at. But yes, definitely. And yeah, FC.
I want to give a quick shout out to the dev tracker too. So that lists the individual dev posts from Spectrum.
Yes, absolutely. Okay,
Griff, what's your thoughts on the website and Galactopedia?
And I just gave the overview on them. The star map, I will say this about it: the star map, it's very easy to miss. They do improvements to it from time to time, graphically, information wise, and everything. They do enhance it because I had been away from it for a long time. When I came back, I started noticing things that I hadn't seen before. So definitely take a look at the star map. Kai, as you mentioned, the roadmap is definitely a point for people to understand how that works. The roadmap is basically this is what we are working on and what we hope to put out. The progress tracker. I think Jake mentioned this at a couple of our citizens that we had. Is that when you look at the progress tracker and you see a timeline, just because a timeline ends does not mean that it is ready to go at that point. It means that whatever that piece was that they were working on is done, but there could be something else that will come up and maybe we're not seeing it because something else needed to be done before they can continue. So it's just, as you mentioned, Kai, it's just something to kind of let us know this is what we're working on right now. But as far as release goes, until we see it go to the roadmap section where it says committed, when it's turned to committed, that's when you know that it's ready to go. So just use them as a guide, not by something that swear by God, green earth, that it's going to be completed when you see it on there, okay?
And I know that a lot of people really got mad when CIG made a change with regard to how they deal with the roadmap and whatever. Unpopular opinion, but this is how I feel. I like it. I think it's way better for CIG to tell people, hey, get your hopes up about the stuff that's in the next 30 days. Before it felt like it was more, hey, get your hopes up about stuff that's in the next 6 months to a year. And like, that's not healthy, I don't think, because when you're doing agile development, like if you're making FIFA or name 1,000 different EA games of like NBA 2K blah, as you know, FIFA 2K blah, MLB 2K blah, when you're doing cookie cutter copies of like, this is last year's game but with like 2% difference, you can really do a good job of telling people expect this in 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. When you're doing what CIG is doing, which is, hey, we're inventing the future of gaming. We're making shit up as we go. We don't know how this is going to go. Some of it's going to work. Some of it's going to not. We're swinging for the fences. We're not trying easy stuff. It's not healthy to tell people what to expect a year from now because not going to happen.
Let me put it to you this way, Kai. And I agree with you 100% because you notice since they did the roadmap change, you ain't heard a squat. You notice that. Right. Nobody's barking about nothing. It's all gone away now, right?
Yeah.
There's the dynamic of what CIG has presented to say, this is what we would like to do. This is what we're going to attempt to do. And then this is what we can do. When we saw the worm on Lear 3, this is what we want to be able to do.
Yeah.
People kept saying, where's the sandworm? You need to be asking, where was Lear 3? There ain't no Lear 3, so ain't no sandworm to Lear 3. So once you realize and look at the star map and see that Lear is way over here, you say, well, that worm ain't coming no time soon. And that's the end of that discussion. Okay. Yeah. So understanding that the roadmap and progress tracker are there to help us have a way of understanding what's going on, but also leaving them room and latitude to develop, to make failures, to have successes at the same time, because that's all a part of development. And of course we get excited when we see something, we say, ooh, I want to get it, give, but we also have to give room. We have to give room also for the fact that those things have to be developed, and in time they will. Okay, let's move on. Get out of the website. Let's talk about this next one here. Areno, thank you for that follow. And from Whammer. Whammer says thank you for the follow.
Thank you, Areno.
Okay.
You're the hero.
These are just 3 key bindings I'm going to mention because it's very easy to miss them, forget about them, or not realize that they're in the game. There's a key bind for looking backward that is not set up. You have to go into the key bindings to set that up. But if you want to look behind you in the game, you can do it. There is a key bind spot for that. There is a key bind spot. As you guys know, they just added this in the last patch. Contact Air Traffic Control, ATC. You can now push a button. Now, mind you, this never bothered me because I'm one of those immersive people that I didn't open my Mobi glass and go to the comms and blah, blah.
You MFD'd it.
I MFD'd it.
Yeah.
That was me. I MFD'd it. But don't get me wrong. I like the fact that there's a key bind because every once in a while, I'm in a rush or something happens, I reach out and boom, hit that little button and I get that call for the ATC. So that's nice, but it's not pre-programmed. You have to put it in. So make sure that you do that. And then this last one, I think is still in the game. If it's not, you guys correct me. Match speed. Back in the day, match speed was in the game. You pushed M, and when you were in combat or following somebody, you hit it if you targeted them and you would match their speed. I think it's back in the game now, but you have to bind to it. Does anybody in chat know if that's true? If match speed is back. And I'm going to go from that. Kai, you started talking a little bit about the key binds earlier when you go in the game, because when you bring up that keyboard, some of those keys have 3 and 4 different things tied to them, right? And you do have to be careful. Sometimes it's okay, but if you decide to change something, you got to be careful. Like, for example, I use a keypad, which I program out, right? My I button for inventory is in a certain spot on my keypad. If I'm not careful and I hit that button when I'm flying, that's also my engine.
That's the standard. No, that is the standard. I is standard for kill engines and for open inventory. You definitely need to make sure you're in the right context for when you use I.
Exactly. Because
I have a quick question. Can you export keybinds yet? That's a thing, right?
I've never tried. I don't know.
So
okay, put it this way: there's a file that you can save under user to keep all your keybinds. So I recommend people copy and paste that if possible.
Okay, Jade says yes, you can. Okay.
Yes.
You're gonna use a photo. Okay.
Yeah, I've done it for the stick and stuff. I've never done it for my keyboard command, so that's good to know.
You definitely want to do it for all. So with regard to keybinds, it's still a bit of a hot mess, and there are some like for example, what you just highlighted, Griffin. That was a really poor choice by CIG for having a default, because people are flying might go, what's in my inventory? Do I have this much to sell? And then like, my engines are off. I'm in gravity. Well,
right, exactly.
There goes my ship.
Exactly.
Now I no longer need to worry about what inventory I have because I don't have it.
You have no idea how many times I've been like going somewhere and I hit that I key again and stop 3 inches before hitting the ground. The power comes on just enough to stop me. So it always freaks me out. I'm always paranoid about hitting that key. Let me ask you. Go ahead. I was going to say, what key binds do you have? Anything you favor, Kai, in the game for key binding?
So for sure, separate out, turn off engines with your check backpack. That is for sure a thing that CIG should have done by default, but whatever. Look backward, that's awesome. Contact ATC. Let me give you guys some context for that. That came into the game in 3.16 as a, hey, here's a little side thing we put in that it just gets you past 3 steps. I looked this up because I was interested. It was 7 years ago when Elite Dangerous players asked Frontier, hey, can we please get a 1-button push for request? Now, if you might not understand what Contact ATC is. Contact ATC is request landing permission, request takeoff permission. That's basically what that is. If it's a contextual thing where if you're in the hangar ready to leave, that is contact air traffic control and say, please open up the doors to the hangar. I would like to leave. If you're approaching the station, it's please allow me to land somewhere. Assign me a docking bay. I'm going to go and dock. So 7 years ago, Frontier, Elite Dangerous players asked Frontier, can we have 1 button for request landing permission? Request, you don't request takeoff in game, you just take off, but request landing permission. And it's still not in the game. Just as an aside. With regard to match speed, the calculations that go into matching Delta V with regard to, 2 bodies in motion.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
I can't explain to you, as somebody who studied rocket propulsion and telemetry, and I literally just did a whole thing looking at how NASA does closed circuit fuel rich rockets, and the Soviet Union, now Russia, does closed circuit oxidizer rich, and SpaceX is doing a Methalox full flow stage combustion. I understand as players of video games, you're like, I want to go as fast as that thing goes. If you actually break down the science behind it, holy crap, you will break your brain. That is a very big deal. I cannot stress enough how much the idea Aerospike for the win. Aerospike has problems with regard to cooling. You definitely have problems with regard to keeping the spike cool. I'll talk to you off air, Jade. That's a whole different thing. I know that you're a science chick, but let me tell you something. With regard to rocket engines, I know some things, and there's problems with it. There's a reason why Elon didn't use it.
Go back to keybinds.
All right, sorry. Keybinds. So I'm drunk. So all right, keybinds. Like that is a big deal. Match speed.
Yeah.
There's lots of keybinds that are given to you in this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a mess with regard to there's lots of places where there's duplications and things that kind of don't match up.
Kai, let me ask you this then. Because you and I were talking and fastcart about these peripherals, do these extra peripherals, these different controllers, such as your sticks, such as keypads, are these the things that kind of help offload some of that from the keyboard? You know, I mean, is that a good reason to go ahead and maybe, because like how many buttons have you got on your sticks? Because you got the real good ones.
So the Virpals have like with the toggle throttle, you can do
about 20 things on that one stick.
More? It's like 30 some odd without using the toggle throttles.
Yeah.
With the toggle throttles, you can get into the 70s.
Wow,
it's stupid.
Wow.
But I also here's the problem though. Realistically speaking, I'm not that bright. So when you talk about having 70 some odd toggles in each stick, you can't remember them. That's why I have Stream Decks, because Stream Decks are programmable buttons that tell you exactly what the button does. And that's what also where Game Glass and Voice Attack come in really well, because you don't have to remember 90 buttons on each stick. You could just say drop landing gear, you know, toggle VTOL, and Voice Attack will do it, or hit the button that says it in Game Glass or in Stream Deck and it'll do it. I here's what I will recommend, or here's what I will say to give them props with CIG. It's a pain in the butt to try to figure it out and to map it all out and to remember it. But the CIG gives you more freedom than any game that I can say to, like, if you really want to get into it, if you want to go NASA hard and train like a flight sim 8 hours a day for the rest of your life, they give you the ability to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Other than going to DCS, it can get complicated, right? FC, let me ask you, because you talked about Voice Attack, and because of the fact you mentioned you play one-handed, is that kind of help you offload some of those keyboard commands, those bindings, by using Voice Attack?
Yes, exactly. I mean, not only does Voice Attack have their own default configuration, you can program Voice Attack to do stuff that's not in there. So when you figure out how to input the macros and stuff like that, so you can make it do almost anything just by using your voice. Yeah,
I'm seeing Jade says that her entire takeoff sequence is done vertical and horizontal from a command that she made in Voice Attack. I've heard Colossal do it. Colossal says, begin launch, takeoff sequence, and I've had mine do this before, where it'll take off, go up to a certain height, 60 meters or whatever, the gear come up and blah 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 blah. And so there's a lot of versatility that you can do. Now, I will say this to what Kai was saying earlier, like things like Game Glass. I mentioned earlier when I called the tower, I was one of those people who had no problem going for the MFD. There are certain aspects of the immersion that I do appreciate. I also appreciate the fact that CIG can let you start manually. You can power on, engine on, shields on, weapons on, or you can just push R and do flight ready. And I think as long as they continue to give us that level of versatility, like you said, Kai, even though it adds more buttons to the keyboard, it does make the game be as immersive, or I hate to use the word arcadey as a negative, or just direct and, I don't want to think about which button. I don't want to, all I know is I got to push R and I'm ready to go. I think that's cool too. I just want them to make sure that they give us both and not, just one. For me.
There's no game that I've ever played, whether we're talking in the space sim genre or any other genre, that gives you more freedom to make all of the choices you want, good and bad, than this game.
Okay, cool.
Can I give one last word about keybinds?
Sure.
Whenever a new player or anyone asks for advice in local or like the global chat, and someone says Alt F4, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
Yeah, if people don't know. Yeah, so if they don't know. Okay. All right, that's it. Key bindings was real short. Not a lot there to talk about, but this next subject we are going to talk about here. Making AUEC, because to get around in Star Citizen, eventually you have got to make some credits. I was going to say cash, but you have to make credits. And you're going to buy some flight suits. You're going to buy some armor. You're going to buy food, water, drinks. You're going to buy clothing. And all that takes AUEC. But before you do that, to get around, I mean, you can just kind of hang around your place where you spawn in and do a few things. But this game is about space and ships and traveling and getting around. So we're going to get some quick recommendations for best starter ship. And I asked both fastcart and Kai to tell me what's the ship if you're coming in on an economy level that they would recommend. And then if you wanted to spend a little bit more, you want to be able to get a little bit more bang for your buck, what would be the next ship that they would recommend? So I'm going to go to Kai first on this one. Kai, what do you recommend for your starter ship for somebody who's coming in on a budget, just getting their feet wet with the game? They're a little apprehensive. They don't want to put a lot of money in, but they want to see what the starter system thing about. And then if they do like it, what's that thing you would say? Well, if you want to go ahead and get in with both feet, go for a blah. What would you have?
So this is where things get weird, because literally as of 3.17.2, the answer to this question changes.
Okay.
It used to be start with an Aurora, because Aurora is the only ship that of the two starters, and the two starters are the Mustang, Alpha Mustang, and the Aurora LS. And the answer used to be, for sure, take the Aurora, because the Mustang can't do box missions. That is now changed as of 17.2. As of when it drops in the week of the 15th to the 22nd, they have an announcement, but I'm telling you now as a sneak peek. When it drops 3.17.2 in the PU, the Mustang Alpha will, for the first time, be able to do box missions, box deliveries, cargo, small amounts. I personally would say, as of now, what is your, do you want to go combat? Do you want to do combat stuff? Because if so, now the Mustang Alpha is the best of the two starter ships. But what I tell anyone who knows me well enough, I don't tell people, if you don't know me, I'll say, pick one of the two cheapest and knock yourself out. Do what you want. If you want to do combat, go the Mustang route. If you want to do non-combat, go the Aurora route. Either of them can do the other, but either of them is only best at the combat or non-combat route.
Okay, now let me stop you for a second before you commit.
Sure.
When we say starter, I want to make sure that we're on the same page, because I didn't make this clear. Are we referring to what CIG recommends as a starter ship? In other words, the Alpha and the is it the MR?
The LR.
LR.
The Aurora LR. MR. My bad.
Okay.
My bad.
Now, if I were to broaden that and say any Mustang or any Aurora,
yeah,
would you still say those? Would you still go with the Mustang?
I look at the starters. I look at I'll just say this way. I classify it as the cheap starters and the more advanced starters.
Okay.
There's the cheap starters, which is the Aurora MR and the Mustang Alpha.
Okay.
And of the two, I say go with whatever suits you best now. Before now, I would literally say, for sure, go Mustang if you wanted to go combat, but the best all-arounder of the two is the MR. But now that's arguably not the case. You choose what's best for you.
Okay.
Now, I consider two other ships to be starters. I consider the Avenger to be the advanced starter, and the Nomad to be the expensive advanced starter.
Okay. For
people that are my friends, what I recommend them get, I absolutely recommend them to get the Avenger Titan, and then never spend another penny on the game until you get to the point where you're, number one, comfortable, and number two, you want to I just tell people, never spend a single penny to buy a ship ever, period, done, end of sentence. You spend money to support the development, and you get a ship as a side effect of that. But don't buy a mole because you want the mole. Buy the mole because you want to support the game development and get the mole on the side. But don't. So but I do recommend people, if I know you, and those of you that are listening that are friends of mine, I've told you, trust me, get the Titan, you'll be happy.
Okay.
That's where I'm at with it.
Gotcha. Okay. FC, what about you?
But before I get started my recommendations, I wanted to specify AUEC versus UEC. When you buy a game package in Star Citizen, you get UEC. That's money that you'll start when the game goes live. We're currently in alpha, and then we're going to beta. We're not in live yet. So alpha UEC is a currency that we use as a temporary measure that allows us to simulate the economy and buying ships and weapons and whatnot. That alpha UEC is not permanent. It'll go away when the game goes live. You'll be stuck with the whatever UEC that you'll have in your packages or whatever credit that you might have bought.
More importantly, I want to point out, because you said it'll go away when the game goes live. That's not exactly true. It'll go away on every wipe. Alpha UEC, for example, Alpha UEC, for example, will be going away in 2 weeks when 3.17.2 drops.
Good point. Thank you. That's a good point. So yeah, I just wanted to make that reference because this is supposed to be a tips and tricks show. So I wanted to get that clarification out. As far as our starter ships, the best starter ships, I agree with Kai. Instead of the Mustang Alpha, I would go the Mustang Beta, the Bangstang. Because it'll be able to let you log out whenever you're in space. So it has a bed. But for if you want to spend a bit more money, I would recommend the Avenger Titan or the 315P. Because especially the 315P, it holds a whole lot more cargo. It has some combat capability, but it's mostly an explorer ship. The Avenger Titan also holds some cargo. I think it's a bit more firepower than the 315P, but don't quote me on that. If you want to spend a bit more, you can get the Cutlass or Freelancer. If you want to spend a lot more, then get the MSR or the Mercury Star Runner. But that's in the $200. But those are my recommendations. But I would, for the low end, the Mustang Beta.
You left out the Nomad. I think if you're going to go more than the starter, like advanced is the Avenger Titan, more advanced is the Nomad, more advanced, and every time you say advanced, just put in dollar signs, is the Cuddy Black.
Okay. Right. I'm gonna go with for starters. This is tough. Because on all of the starters, I want to step up a little bit because of some benefit. So I even though I like the alpha, I go with the beta because of the sleep factor, because that's the difference with the Auroras. The Auroras, I used to recommend Auroras because they had a bed. So if you were on a moon or a planet or wherever, you could log out, which you couldn't do in the alpha. So I would say go to a beta on the Mustang because of the living space, cargo. It's a cargo ship. It's a really decent ship. So I do put those two together. But for the Auroras, I would go to, if you're interested in combat and defending yourself, go to the LN to spend the extra money to an LN. Now, you guys know I'm an Origin guy. If I'm starting in anything, I'm starting in a 100 series. But I'm starting in a 100 series, you're shaking your head. I don't run out of gas in the 100 series. Nope. They have the refinery inside of them that refuel them. And you can jump all the way across the system 2 and 3 times before, where other people got to stop at stations and refuel. And it has a bed, and the 135 has cargo space in it. And it's very small, it's very agile and quick. But that's because I want to use it for traveling and stuff like that. I'm not worried about doing any combat, no cargo or anything else. So that's why I said each one of those ships fit into a different space for me.
I'm not trying to start anything. Well, what's the price difference between the 100 series and the 315P?
About $5, I think, $10, $5 to $10 difference. You know. Yeah. Besides, if you want to look cooler too, that's the other thing. All right, so that's the other thing. Now my next step up from that, Avenger Titan always ends up falling, I think, on everybody's list as the ship that if you can pay a couple extra bucks. The space in it is good. It's easy to fly. It has great visibility. It's just a great ship. It's just a great ship. Combat, it's just a great ship. Then after that, I agree with both fastcart with his recommendation. I think once you start getting into ships like the Cutlass Black or the Freelancer, now you're having a better understanding of the game, because the Cutlass Black moves you into that space where now it's not just me, but I can bring friends along. I can do multiplayer. I can do different things. So that would be my next level. I'm not going to go above that 100, 120 level, because at that point you're buying ships that to me are, you have a better understanding and a focus of the game, of what directions you're starting to want to go once you start getting above 100. That's why I wouldn't go, even though I understood fastcart about the MSR, but because data's not in and all that other stuff, it's still kind of hazy before I want to start recommending those type of ships. But those were all good recommendations.
By the way, Blue G surprised that you're not going to recommend the 890 jump.
No,
he said starter, bro.
Yeah,
he didn't say no. 890 jump. It should be everyone's goal. That's your goal. That's I've hit the highlight.
For some people who they're not interested in that whole career thing. So I mean, everybody's going to have something to go for. We're just trying to tell you guys what are tips and tricks to get you going in the games, that you have a good experience. And of course, the great thing about this, Kai said it earlier, there's so many people in the game who will let you fly their ships, riding their ships. I 50% of my time, I'm riding with other people. I'm not 100% of my time is not me flying myself. I love getting in the ship with some other people and sitting in the co-pilot seat or sitting in the back or whatever. I enjoy that just as much as I enjoy flying ships on my own, you know. So
two tips on the starter ship thing. I would say this. Number one, Griff, you mentioned the Cuddy Black.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're looking at the Cuddy Black up, that's a little more advanced. And the other bonus of a Cuddy Black up is you're starting to talk about ships, the Cuddy Black, the Nomad, and up. Now you're starting to talk about ships that you can put a rock into, which the rock is the little scooter that mines on a planet.
That's why I said you're getting to more now. That's why I said you're starting to understand the game better now. You can put your Dragonfly on there. You can put your rock on there. You know what I mean? You can even put your... Can you fit a mule in that thing? Yeah, you can, right?
We know that you can, and here's how we know. Because they specifically stated repeatedly, any ship you can fit a rock into, you can fit a mule into.
Right. And that's my point. That's why I said once you get there, beyond that, you're starting to understand the game better. So, okay.
And the second point I want to make is a shameless plug for a Discord. If you want to see a bunch of ships, join the Soul Citizens Discord and just go into the Soul Citizen chat and say like, hey, somebody want to fly with me? Somebody who has a this or that, somebody will come on and fly with you, and you get to see the ships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. We will do that. Let's go to best missions. I want you guys to pick the mission for you that you think when somebody comes in, it will be good for them to kind of get their feet wet, whether it's to make mostly to make AUEC. And I know everybody has their thing, but for you, what would be a good place to start? And it doesn't have to be to make the most. I'm just saying, what's a good way to start making money? FC, I'm gonna start with you this time. What would you recommend people to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on this one. This is beyond my expertise at the moment. So I'm gonna pass.
All right, Kai.
So I want to make this evergreen content. So I'm gonna say right now, I think doing a lot of the like combat missions, the bounty missions is a good way to go. But I want to give a very sort of general word of advice to say, because people might be seeing this week, people might be seeing this in 3 months, people might be seeing this in 3 years. The best thing that you can do is look at what in the game, if you look at, 317, has this going on. 318 is getting physicalized cargo. I think at that point, missions that involve cargo running will probably pay really well. When CIG introduces a new game loop to the game, they want people to test it out. When they bring in medical stuff, all of a sudden you get more money for doing like medical assists. When they were doing a bunch of mining changes, mining paid a lot, but they do a lot of bounty stuff. All of a sudden bounty pays a lot. They do a lot of this, that, and the other. Upcoming, we've got physicalized cargo. I think cargo missions are going to pay a lot. A year from now or 6 months from now or whenever, when they introduce salvage, that's going to pay a lot. And later down the line, when they do data running, that's going to pay a lot. So just look at What is going on in the game?
Whatever the hot topic is for that point.
And that's what they want people to test. So that's what they will incentivize us to. Like, we're just rats in a maze. They put the cheese down so that we'll run in the little loops that they want.
Right. Which is why people think things are broken. People think things are broken when they don't realize that they deliberately, like, for example, trade. They deliberately cut the prices so that we stop monkeying around doing that and go do something else.
They want you to go do something. And, and it works well. So for best missions, the real answer is whatever brings you joy, because Alpha UEC is meaningless.
Okay, but I want you to pick something. Pick something. Recommend something for people that are just starting the game. What would you recommend?
Right now, I think what's really, really smart when you're first starting the game is do box missions a couple of times, because that will give you just the understandings of the fundamentals, how to land, how to request landing permission, how to take off, how to orient yourself and get from, how to use the star map, how to go into quantum. So box missions 2 or 3 times. And it's not because it's going to make you rich. It's not. It's about the fundamentals. After that, go with the mission to go find the old dude that's missing in the cave, and then you do some hand mining. Go do combat missions. Whatever you're looking to chase for your fun, go do that. But with regard to specifically, because the way you phrased the question was how to get rich, how to get Alpha UEC. If that's what you're looking for,
how to get rich. I just said, what would you recommend? I said they don't have to be trying to get rich. I'm just saying, what would be a good place to start making money? And those are good. And you went where I was going to go. I was, and Scavenger just said the same thing too. I was going to say box missions because they get you acquainted with the verse. They get you traveling from location to location. You might have to land at a remote outpost. You may have to land on the roof of a building. You develop your skills of flying, being able to navigate around the verse using the star map. Those and they pay you. And believe it or not, you can, as rudimentary as it may seem, before you know it, when you're starting, you can sit there and make 20,000, 30,000 just flying around, seeing the scenery, getting used to the game. And then, as Kai said, you can progress further when you get with friends. A bunker mission is always exciting. If you want to be daring, do a medical rescue mission. Believe it or not, people used to think that if you go rescue somebody, they're going to try to kill you and take your stuff. I probably have said I've done probably 20 of those missions, and not once has anybody ever tried to kill me and take my ship. They were more like, thanks for getting me up. You get paid $15,000 for picking somebody, for just shooting a medical gun at them and letting them continue their bunker mission, and you go ahead and head out and you got paid. So there are some simple things that you can just come into the game with and do to make some AUEC. Let's go to best weapons.
Okay,
and I'm gonna
say something real quick about the mission. Whatever mission let you meet Swift Pacheco, those are the missions that you want to go.
Those are the missions they don't need to do. Okay, leave her alone. All right, best weapons. I'm not gonna. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of weapons in this game. I'm just gonna ask you, what is your favorite weapon of choice for FPS? Okay, if you've got one for ships that you like, you can mention that too. But just tell me what it is that you like using when you're in game. FC, I'm gonna come back to you. Is there any particular pistol, rifle, whatever, or gun that you like on your ship?
For my ship, I like a repeater, spray and pay in my typical game style. But I also like a slow cannon, probably, because I do like sniping. So sniper rifle is also my preferable gameplay for FPS. I know it's not good for short range or anything like that, but if I'm close to somebody short range, I'm dead anyway. So that's me. But I do want to give DK a shout out and say railgun too. Those are always fun.
The railgun. Okay. Kai, what about you?
So, again, evergreen question. This is constantly changing. Just recently, they switched it up, and for a long time, disruption weapons were the meta, and this was the meta, and that was the meta, and kinetic, and they've recently switched it up to where basically just straight up lasers, just vanilla as F is the way to go for your ship. And 3 months from now, that could be an entirely different thing. So just follow the meta. As it stands now in your ship, laser's the way to go.
Okay.
Pistols. I like the Arclight Night Stalker, like just your center, your starter pistol. It's a good pistol. It works all around. It's really good. For a 3-round SMG burst, I'm a big fan of the Lumen 5.
Okay.
For a full auto SMG, I'm a big fan of the Custodian. For all around shotgun, I'm a big fan of the R97. You got your tight and widespread burst opportunities. For a good rifle, the Gallant, you can't go wrong with it. Best long gun, you're looking at the Arrowhead, and the best LMG for me is the Gemini F55.
Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh
It's
boy.
like he didn't just suggest like 7 different weapons.
Well, no, he did each classification of the different types, and that was good.
Did. I was just making sure.
Yeah, because the ones I'll go with for you, Kai, is I'm on the ships. I'm still iffy right now. I've been back in lasers again. I've been going back and forth. When it comes to FPS, I hate to say it, I'm also the person who loves that midnight. I'm sorry, the arc light gun is still one of my favorites, even though I do like the salvo, the 50 cals and stuff. They are nice too, but I'll just grab an arc light because one, they're inexpensive. Two, they carry 30 rounds in them. I can take people. I've gone through bunkers just with that and taking people out, and I'm happy with it. I used to be a big Gallant fan, but because the Gallant has a tendency to pull, I shifted over to the C54, and I've been enjoying that a lot more recently. For snipers, I am big on the AO3 and on the P6. Both of those I like a lot for sniping. I haven't monkeyed around with shotguns too much. Like a scab, once in a while, if I'm in a bunker and I run out for some reason or something weird happens, I might pick one up. But I haven't been really big on the shotguns. I haven't been using the grenade launchers. I haven't been using the rail. I used to use the rail back in the day, just to have fun with it, trying to take out ships, but I've gotten away from that. I know some people mentioned in chat the S7. In fact, GoMob is mentioning it. I know Robert mentions the F71. A lot of people love that gun. And I hear a lot of good stuff about it, but I haven't monkeyed around with it enough. But those are my picks for the guns that I enjoy. And mostly because I'm in R-Corp, when I load up a lot of the stuff that's there, because that's my home, I'm able to get from there without a problem. I missed that my arc light. They took my arc light out. So I got to go all the way to freaking Porto to get that. Okay, let's hit this last one. Best mining tools. I'm not sure how you guys are about the mining. I'm just going to talk about
I'm going to bow to your expertise.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk about the heads real quick for those of you who have used the different ones. There's the Hockstead, or I think that's what it's called. There's the Helix. There's the what's the other one? Guys, what's the middle one? Somebody help me out here. The one that there's on the mole. Where my miner is at in chat.
So wait, which? There's a bunch of different ones. I use the Helixes, but you've got
the Helix,
the Lancet.
Lancet.
You've got the
that's
Lancet.
What I'm looking for. The Lancet. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. The Lancet. And I would say for most people, when you're first getting used to mining, just going out with the base one is great. Thank you, guys. That's what I was looking for. Oh yes, the Karna is great. Thank you, Nightshade. Whenever I pick one of those up, it's a pretty monster gun. The base head is decent, but it's only going to allow you to work to a certain level, but it's manageable. The Lancet is kind of like middle ground, a little bit more power, definitely still more stable. When you get more professional, you start moving up to like the Helix. Because the Helix has a tendency, it can jump on you, so you have to be very careful, but if you're used to mining, you can manage it. Of course, using the consumables and other mining assistance things that they've built into the game help you tremendously. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I'm watching my time here. Kai, did you want to say something about mining in particular?
Big fan of the Lancet. I think for me, the bigger thing with mining isn't so much the heads. I think forget money. Just forget money for a minute. It's all going to get wiped over and over and over. It's about the experiences. I think you should treat yourself. You should buy the multi-tool hand tool and go mining on foot in a cave because it's a cool experience.
Yeah.
You should rent a rock and go mining in your little buggy planet side because it's a cool experience.
Yes.
You should definitely go and rent a prospector and go mining both surface side on a planet and in an asteroid belt because it's a cool experience. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that you can go out when you're mining in an asteroid, like in a what do you call it? Why am I prospector? You can literally get out of your ship EVA over to the asteroid and hand mine certain deposits from the asteroid. Is it cost efficient? Is it the most money per hour? No. But we're a bunch of space nerds sitting at home in our living room playing NASA. And let me tell you something. EVAing to your ship and flying over to an asteroid to hand mine these deposits, it's the coolest thing you could do on a Sunday night. So go and do it. And then get together with friends, find people who have a mole, and be part of the group experience. All of these different things provide fun in their own different ways. So try them all.
Can we talk about this real quick too? It's good to start. I'm going to go in reverse order because I started with the mining ships, but I do want to go back to what Kai said. Start with hand mining. Hand mining gives you the basic principle of what it means to mine, getting comfortable with mining. Then move up to the rock, then move up to going out in a prospector, then a mole. Mole, obvious multiplayer. One of the tips and tricks for that is that when you take a mole, a lot of times people say, oh, power. I'm going to load up with 3 helixes. Most people who are using the mole don't do that. They may put 1 helix on and maybe a lancet and something else, or 2 lancets or 2 helixes in a lancet, but there's a certain trick to using a medium or moderate powered laser and also having a high power for the harder rocks. But get with people who've been doing mining, because they will help you to know what are the better resources, what color means what, should I spend time on Dolvine or should I go for this? They'll help you out a lot with that when it comes to being able to help bring in. But like you said, Kai, so much of this is also about the experience. And don't miss the experience for the sake of the money, gang. And I know I'm sounding like I'm preaching a little bit here, but I think sometimes we get so caught up on about the money, and then we have all this money sitting around and we miss the experience. So let the money and the experience go together. You'll enjoy the game a lot more. Let's hit our last area here. We're going to talk about danger. These are the things that as you come in as a new player that maybe you don't know about, that you got to be careful of, or else you have a real funky gaming experience. Bleeding out. Have you guys ever bled out before? Fastcart, Kai? Have you ever had that happen?
A long time ago. Been a few years since I bled out, but I don't play as much as both of you do. But yeah,
okay.
Try not to run. Try not to run everywhere, especially when it's crowded. Because you bump into someone, you can start bleeding or maybe bleed out. So yeah, try not to run everywhere, especially when it's crowded.
Kai, what about you?
I'm too pretty to bleed.
You gonna steal that line from Predator? That's one of the best lines.
Oh,
that is one of the best lines. Hey man, you're bleeding. I ain't got time to bleed. That is one of the best lines ever. Okay, those of you who know about this, bleeding out can happen under a lot of circumstances. You can get wounded in combat. You can get shot. If you're not careful, just because you know that you're wounded, you sometimes also will bleed out. So make sure you watch your health meter. If you see that thing slowly going down, that means you need to get that med pin out or that med gun, or else you are going to die. Okay, you're not going to pass out. You're going to die. Elevators. Anybody want to talk about elevators?
The most dangerous thing in the verse. Elevators kill. So
let's explain what happens so that they'll know what happens with elevators, because there's a couple different things that happen in elevators.
There's 3 main things you need to worry about with elevators. Number 1, if you have bad luck and or sub-rate computer, you'll fall through the floor of an elevator. It's never happened to me. I got a good computer. Number 2, elevators will open up and there's no elevator there. It's just an open pocket to space. It's some Doctor Who. It's some Doctor Who mess right there.
It's a gate. It's a space
now
gate.
Now that is not a bug. That's a feature. That's making sure you're paying attention. If you ain't paying attention, you don't deserve to live.
And don't think that just because the elevator is not showing up that it's there and it'll catch you when you step on it. It won't. It's not there when you don't.
You will fall through. And the last but not least, Kai, can I tell them the living elevator? This is the elevator that when you push the button and you're waiting for it, it jumps out and snatches you and kills you. There is also that elevator as well.
To be clear, it doesn't kill you. What it does is pull you into the building, and now you're stuck, trapped inside the building where you will eventually die. Correct.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, the CIG put mimics in this game? Is
Yes.
that stand out there? It's a mimic?
So here's what I do. And you feel free to do what you do, but here's what I do.
Push that button and step over 20
I call
feet.
an elevator. And then I both run backwards, but running backwards, I've run backwards till I touch the wall, and that's not enough. It'll still suck you in. So I hit the elevator, and then I run straight sideways, and I stand outside of the oxygen area on the pad. And then when I see the doors open, I sprint in.
Right, exactly.
That's what we're dealing with in this game. I will point out that in 3.17.2, I don't know if you guys have played it yet.
The black hole.
In 3.17.2, the elevators move like 50,000 times faster than they used to in 3.17.1. So hit that button and run like you're being chased by a chick who you owe child support to, because you gotta get away.
Wait, let me tell you.
You gotta get away.
Let me tell you. This is the thing that's happening with me right now. When you go to push the elevator button, you go to the elevator, it's black. There's no doors. You push the button, you hear the elevator come up, you hear the doors open. You walk through the black, the elevator's there. So it's not that you're going to fall through. Just make sure you listen for the elevator. If you hear the doors open up, walk through, you'll be in the elevator. That's the way it's been in the PTU, not the PU, mind you. So they've got to work on that bug. But right now, a lot of times you walk through the elevator, there's actually no doors at all, but just listen for it.
I think Griff is trolling all of y'all.
No, I'm being very serious about that. Okay, helmet on. Helmet on. Let's talk about this.
All right.
Helmet on. Many of us were around back in the day where when you woke up in the game, you didn't have your flight suit on.
Yep.
And you went running down to the, run down
airlock.
Go out the airlock, and you died in the airlock. And it was tremendous. It was real. You should think about it as like, because you have to remember in the beginning, we always woke up with our flight suit on. So we had gotten used to that for many years. Then CIG proceeded to implement this thing where you had to go to a locker, take out your suit, put it on, and go on. Then they took us back to waking up in our suits because people got frustrated. But now people die because you go to a station, you need to eat or drink, you take your helmet off, you eat and drink, then you go hang out with your buddies again, you go outside and go out on the ramp and die. So go ahead.
Here's a trick. Here's what all you need to do. Train yourself to do this. Anytime. I'm not saying sometimes. I'm saying anytime you get into an elevator, no matter where it is, just get into the habit. When you get into an elevator, hit F4. Are you wearing a helmet? If not, put on a helmet. Had a burrito. Okay, well then put on a helmet. Then get a drink. Then put on a helmet.
Absolutely.
F4
is your friend. F4 is your friend.
F4 in every elevator, always.
Yes, absolutely. If you see an airlock, if you see the air shield up there, as soon as you see the air shield, did I put my helmet on? Just automatically.
Griff, the other point of this is in 17.2, all of the space stations have hangars.
Yes, and they're beautiful.
No more pads.
They're beautiful. They're wonderful.
Which means
what people will still end
optional?
up. Yeah, well, people will still eventually think about what's going to happen when you can no longer wear your stuff when you're flying your ship. When you got to start taking stuff off. You can imagine how many people are going to step off their ships and die. It's going to happen, guaranteed.
I've done that. I've done that. I've stepped off my banner defender without a helmet on. I forgot why I took it off, but yes, I heard the noise and I was scrambling trying to put it on. I didn't make it in time.
Yeah.
I'm picturing Griff and Fastcart as pilot and co-pilot in a C2. Both of them just wearing tidy whities, going ready for takeoff.
Now I will say this. Honestly, I can't wait till our ships do, like certain ships, when you're going in and out of them, you've got the lockers where you can put your flight suits. I can't wait till that's there, because that will be that visual indicator when you're going through there that, hey, I got to put my flight suit on as I'm going in this airlock. I'm looking forward to that, because I like when I get on certain ships, if it's long trips sometimes with my friends, I will change clothes. I'll put on civilian clothes while I'm on the ship, and then I'll change later, especially like you said, Kai, if you're going into a place where there's a hangar, where it's going to be enclosed, then you don't have to worry about it as much. That's a good point to raise.
I mean, keep in mind, you Griff, the all of the thing of, and I don't even know, because I got out of the habit of wearing it. I always wear a flight suit when I'm flying a ship now. But it used to be back in the day I would be lazy and I would just be wearing my Nabokov or my whatchamacallit, my hot or cold suit. And when you go to open up when you're flying to a Hurston moon or whatever, and you would open up the map where your arms had the armor, it would be all bulky and you could only see like a quarter of the map, and that sucked.
That's very true. You couldn't see. That's a good point. Okay, let's hit these last ones here. Running downstairs. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. Some folks still have this as a problem, so be careful. You know, a lot of times we're always running to get somewhere full speed. Pull that mouse wheel back just a little bit more, come to a more of a moderate jog than a run. You can make it downstairs. You can jump downstairs without a problem. But if you're going full bore, there are people who still have this as a problem where they fall. And as fastcart mentioned, they hit the ground so hard, and next thing you know, they're bleeding out or they're injured. And so be careful about the running downstairs. 30Ks. As you guys know, CIG did some work recently where they minimized 30Ks. They still happen from time to time, but nowhere near the frequency that we had before. And 30K is basically a general crash of the system. Doesn't mean anything in particular. It could mean many different things, but it does mean that the server goes down. When that happens, always remember that you have to go all the way back out of the game. You can't just go back to the main menu. You have to go out of main menu back. It's always best to relaunch the launcher just to get everything fresh to go back into the game again. Kai, you want to talk a little bit about what it means to shut the door when you get out of your ship? And why you should?
Sure. Wow. Okay, we're gonna ask the Mexican why you need to lock your doors. All right, fine. All right, I'm not gonna read too much into that.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Well, it's better to ask the Mexican than the brother. So go ahead. I was gonna ask you first. What do you think? Why should we lock the doors? Shut the doors?
Because sometimes people steal your car. You gotta shut your doors for the most part. Because you don't want, I see fastcart losing his, all right. You got to shut the doors all the times because people can come in your ship and they can kill you. And then it's not your ship anymore. It's their ship now. So you definitely want to always shut the doors. With regard to the running downstairs, for me, the only time that ever gets me, my computer is good. I never fall through the floor like I've heard other people have. I have a problem in one place and one place only, Klesher. If I go to prison when I'm running down the steps, if I don't slow down, as you said, I will run and my guy will literally just go right over that
the rail.
First rail.
Yes, I've had that.
I hate that.
Yeah. And then you're down there in the rocks and you can't get out. Yeah, it sucks.
And the other thing on 30Ks real quick is I want to give CIG a huge salute. As of a year ago, 30Ks were something that would happen every 45 minutes to 2 hours. Now there's something that happens every couple of days of playing. Number two, 30Ks used to be guaranteed you lost everything. Now, quite often, when you come back, you have your stuff. So I want to give CIG a quick salute on that.
Absolutely. Because things have changed dramatically since those days. And it's funny now because I was playing with some people a few months back, and someone mentioned 30Ks, and someone in the room said, "What's a 30K?" And I'm like, wow, we've got a generation of people now who did not experience that and don't know anything about 30Ks now. You know, it's changed that quickly, like you said.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day, yeah. All right, and FC, I got one for you, this last one here.
Yeah.
In the new patch notes for 3.17.2, they have now re-implemented oxygen in your suits, meaning that now you will run out of oxygen in your suit if you keep your helmet on all the time. Now, that's going to impact players because a lot of players right now, they get in their suit, they leave it on all the time, and they're not aware of paying attention. Some of you may remember that you used to see your oxygen levels going down when you stayed in your suit. And if you took your helmet off, or if you entered an area that had oxygen, you would see that go back up again. But now they're going to make it where your suits now have their self-contained oxygen, and that is going to deplete. So that's something else to pay attention to. Yeah, food and drink, yes, but now you're also going to have to pay attention. Yes, absolutely. Fastcart, do you think that that's going to catch some players off guard, or do you think that everybody will kind of adapt?
It will. Especially like for something like the Daemon Rally and stuff like that. That's just another thing players will have to keep track of.
Yeah.
So you have the oxygen pins and stuff like that.
That's going to make them start to be real now, right? Because people have been ignoring oxygen pins for a while. But now if you're out there on the surface, and some of you already know, you already have to contend with things like temperature. It may tell you your survival time is 20 minutes, but your oxygen time may be 21 minutes, 22 minutes, might be 15 minutes. Those oxygen pins, like you said, fastcart, if you don't have a way to go indoors or inside of a ship, maybe you're out there rock mining or whatever the case may be. That's one of the things that sucks about that other rock. There's no, oxygen when you're out in that thing.
Yeah, right.
You got to have that pin with you now in order to survive.
And so not only do you have to make sure you have food, water, to drink and stuff like that, you have to have your oxygen pin too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
The rule of threes. That's the rule of threes. You can go 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. You push it past that. And now different human beings have different abilities. There are some divers in New Guinea or whatever that they'll go 6 minutes, that the pearl divers, and it's like, okay, but they're exceptional humans. In general, a human body can go 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 weeks.
Yep.
And you push it past that and you're getting into death territory.
There you go.
One other thing with the watch your oxygen, keep in mind, and this is why a ship like, I know it's funny that we all meme on like the Cuddy Steel because it's kind of crap as it stands now. But the truth of the matter is CIG has said in the future, ships are going to have different oxygen capacities for the crew and the guests on the ship, passengers and crew. So in the future, there may absolutely be a reason why people would want a Cuddy Steel as a troop transport, because in a Titan, Avenger Titan, or a Cuddy Black, or a other small, even an MSR, where they're like, hey, this is rated for 5 souls. You can have 5 people breathing oxygen on that ship. After that, you're going to deplete your tanks and you're not going to be able to provide for whatever. Whereas the Cuddy Steel, as stupid as it is, where it's like it's a ship that's made for 9,000 people, so that means that according to CIG, it's going to have oxygen capacity for a whole server worth of people.
Right.
So like watch your O2 right now means watch it under certain circumstances, but as the game continues to develop and become more and more advanced, that might be plugging into your ship. How many, because it may be that 6 months from now, our ships all have O2 ratings where it's like the MSR is rated for 5 people.
That's right.
The Cuddy Black is rated for 3 people. This is rated for 8 people. And you have to watch that as well.
Yep. They've talked about that is coming. So something for us to be aware. Someone also mentioned it. I don't know who it was, if it was Jade, I think it was. Someone mentioned about the fact that eventually closing your ships will also be, atmosphere will be a factor too, with opening and closing doors. Some ships have air shields in them. Some of you all know ships like the Prowler, for example, has air shields at its rear door and all of its side doors. But there are some ships, for example, like the Valkyrie, when you're in the back of that thing, if you open up those doors, you are open to no atmosphere or atmosphere. Maybe atmosphere is toxic. So those would be other reasons why monitoring oxygen, both in your suit and, as Kai just mentioned, even within your ship, is going to be vital.
And that goes way more. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That goes way more in depth with other aspects of the game as well. Because imagine 3 years from now, when the game is much more developed and in depth, and you have a situation where you're in combat, you've been hit, and you have a fire that started inside of your ship. A very viable way to go might be decompress, open up the outer door, sucks out all the oxygen. Fire without oxygen immediately suffocates, and then close the door and recompress your ship. But in that meantime, if that process takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes to close the door, vent all the O2, that takes 2 seconds. But close the ship and recycle the airlock inside of your ship to recirculate the oxygen might take 2 minutes. In that time, you need to make sure that you have an oxygen supply on you, even in the ship.
And one last thing I want to mention is temperature, depending on what planet or moon you're on. Might want to be careful about that also. So yeah, the different type of suit is better for different type of temperatures.
Absolutely, pay attention to that. The Novikov suits. We've been on some of the moons where the temperature drops down to below 200 degrees Celsius. High winds on Ida, other places. A lot of stuff that you have to be careful of. Some of us have gotten blown around before out there. Be careful, because you can get injured and hurt, which is great. Love it in the game, right? It brings more realism. But if you don't know, and you get out of your ship. Some of us have seen our ships even get blown around. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Okay, we have covered a whole lot of stuff here and done. Wow, we've covered a whole lot of topics. We've got one question in our Q&A area from Pops. Pops in Space. He says, "What job in the future of SC does everyone think will be a good UEC maker without a ship?" Now, Pops, I'm gonna try to answer that because it's kind of a weird question, because this has come up before about what can you do if you don't own a ship. There are some missions that they have created in the game. They're basically box missions where you can pick up a box from one location, particularly like at Hurston, where you can pick up a box at one machine, take it to another machine, drop it, you can make a little bit of cash. If you don't have your own ship, then obviously the next best thing is going to be getting on a ship with someone else, another player, someone else who's in the game. But what will eventually come into the game, will be when transport gets put into the game. When NPC transport ships are in, ships that you can go to the spaceport, you can board and say, I need to take a ship from here to Port Olisar or to Orison. You may pick up that package there, get on that transport ship and go there via NPC and be delivered as well. So there will be avenues or ways for you to make money, even if you don't own your own ship. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
So, real quick shout out to Pops in Space and Fist to Face, the brothers from New Soul, the hottest music makers in the verse. Yeah, I think I completely agree with you, Griff. The best, you don't have a ship, crew up, join a crew, do whatever. I think in the future, though, you've got people like GoMab who will tell you that you don't need a ship to make money. You need capital and you need the right form of investment and whatever. You need to be able to put that capital out and make it work for you. I think GoMab is going to be somewhere between Elon Musk and a mob boss, where he's like sending people out there to make money, to, do stuff and return capital. And I think that, that is, I'd love to see it. What I would really, really, really love in my heart to see is this game to get so in depth that the best money-making opportunities out there were for doctors and scientists, people out there that are doing medical play, doing some advanced stuff, or people that are doing really high-level science stuffs.
Okay.
That would be awesome, but that's a long ways away.
Yeah, but it's coming. One more question from Big Black Gaming. Do the panelists advise players to connect with strangers in-game? Or is it really about orgs? What is the best tip for players who have historically played solo? I would say this, BBG. There are people who literally go in the chat and say, hey, is anybody looking for a gunner? There are people who say, hey, is anybody looking to go do so-and-so? You can put that in chat. And people, for the most part, if they're looking to need help, because some missions, they do need help. They do need a gunner. They do need somebody to help them do that bunker. For the most part, people are cool with that. They're not going to necessarily gun you down and kill you. Of course, there's always that it could happen. But in general, I've seen people do it all the time. Obviously, buddying up with somebody that you know is great. But if you're a solo player and you're coming into a game like any other MMORPG, there are a lot of people who do play solo, but over time, they get to make friends with people. And because this game is a game that allows people to do solo stuff, but also says, hey, I need somebody that can help, or just somebody to help crew with me, there are people that will do it. I think you just got to take a chance and do it and have fun with it. But I don't ever hear anybody like mass murderers out here killing every new player that wants to come in and ask for help. I haven't heard or experienced that. Maybe some of you have, but I haven't experienced that as an issue. I got to wrap it up, gang, because we still have a giveaway that we want to do before we go today. This is a different type of giveaway, and Fastcart doesn't even know about this giveaway. No. How about that? I didn't even tell Fastcart about this.
A date with Fastcart. Everybody put in hashtag Fastcart.
A date with Fastcart.
A date with Fastcart.
Okay.
Sherry Heidberg automatically wins.
This is going to be, we're going to give away some merchandise. We haven't done that in a while. We did it a little while back. We gave some hats and things away, but we've got some new merch. So I'm doing some shameless plugging for some of our new merch. And you get to pick, if you're the winner, you get to pick one of these items. Not one, but you get to pick one of these categories of items. One is Soul Citizen water bottle. You guys see that?
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one thing. Those of you who love your water, that's one. The other
or
one,
you can put any liquid in there.
don't start, Kai, don't start. Wait a minute. You know what? I shouldn't show him the rest of this now. Fastcart that I've said that. Or you can get a Soul Citizen tumbler. For those of you who want to be able to drink your 16 ounces of something, you can get this.
Water.
Okay. Water. Yeah, of course, water. Then if you don't want a tumbler, but you want like a more cooler glass, we've got a Soul Citizen's glass here, okay, which is just kind of straight up and down or for water. And for those of you who want more water, there's the Soul Citizen shot glass. So if you want that. So here's the deal. If you win, you can have 4 of any of those 3 items. 4 shot glasses, 4 drinking glasses, or 4 tumblers. Because to give you one would be stupid, right? You got to share it with your friends, right? But if you want the water bottle, you get 1 water bottle. These ain't cheap. You get 1 water bottle. Okay, you're not getting 4 of these. Okay, so that's it. So whoever the winner is, all you have to say is, "Hey, I want the blah 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 blah," and we will get that out to you. So if you want the shot glasses, we'll get you 4 shot glasses or whatever the case may be. So let me clear the board here because folks are already lining up for this particular thing. We're gonna have you put in drink, drink, and if you are interested in winning in this, put in drink, and we are going to roll for that. So you get, once again, you get either 1 water bottle, 4 big tumblers with Soul Citizens on them, 4 drinking glasses. I think these are like 12 ounce. And then I think this is like a 2 ounce or 3 ounce shot glasses. You get 4 of those. So
you can get your water in all different types.
Yeah. Any type of water you want to put in. Sparkling water, mineral water.
And while people are entering, I just want to mention that we will need your address. So if you don't feel comfortable giving that out, don't enter.
Listen, trust me, it ain't. Tell us to re-roll. It ain't coming via drone. They know they got to give us an address, okay? So it ain't gonna pop up in your house. You guys already know the routine, all right? There's no other way we can get it to you without an address.
As a tip and trick, I think we'd be remiss if you don't want to spend money or any money on a game. Come doing free fly, and we're having a free fly coming up in July, I believe.
Yes.
So yeah, that'd be a perfect time to test out the game and try to get acquainted with it.
Absolutely. Okay, have we got everybody in? Drink if you're interested in getting some of the Soul Citizens merch. Okay, Kai, give us a countdown on 5, 4, 3 for me.
5, 4, 3, dos, uno, now.
And he goes Latin on me. Whoa! Look who won that. We can't.
Oh wow!
I don't know if we can give it to Kai because he's a guest.
Oh
on the show.
No! Reroll. I was just goofing around. Reroll. I want somebody to win it.
That's too funny. Okay.
That's funny.
All right, we're gonna roll it again. Give us the count again, there, Kai.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, Nightshade 03.
Yay, Nightshade!
Nightshade, if you are out there, let us know. Nightshade is there. He is. Nightshade is there. Or there she is. I don't know if it's he or she. Nightshade, please contact us. You can send us a direct message through Twitch, or you can send it to soulcitizens@gmail.com. Be sure, as Fastcart mentioned, to send us the mailing address where you want it shipped. Tell us whether you want the shot glass, the drinking glass, the tumbler, or the water bottle, whichever one you prefer. And we will get that out to you ASAP. And we're going to do more of these, gang. We're going to send some more of these out for you guys. So thank you guys for hanging around and listening to us share all of our wealth of knowledge with you this week. Let's talk about what we got coming up this week. Fastcart, what we got going on Thursday?
Thursday, we have our community talk show. We talk about ISC and Star Citizen Live and what's going on in the community that week. Mostly I'm covering the week in review and on Comlink. So yeah, that is Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. Join us for Soul Talk. That'll be on, it'll be on both YouTube and Twitch coming up. So yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Saturday, Soul Voices at 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. You can join the Soul Citizens community where they pull out questions from Reddit and from Spectrum, and they give you an opportunity to come in, chat one-on-one, talk with the hosts, and give your thoughts on the pulse of what's going on in Star Citizen these days.
Why, thank you, Kai. You did that quite well. And then next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be doing the ARC Star Map, and we're going to have Dr. Murray on as our guest, and we're going to be talking about the thing we talked about today, the Star Map, and we're going to be navigating through it. Those of you who never used it before, we're going to give you a little demonstration. We're going to talk about some of the highlights that are there, tied it into the lore, and just have a lot of fun with that next week. And you can bring it up on your computer too. So if you can watch a stream and ARC Star Map at the same time, you got a good computer, because that sucker seriously wears out your computer. But it is beautiful, and we're going to talk about that next week. Other than that, I think that's about it. Kai, tell everybody once again where they can find you, please.
You can find me Friday nights on Black Sky Legion on YouTube and Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever UTC. You can find me at Black Sky Legion Discord, where we hang out. And you can find me a lot of times hanging out over here in the Soul Citizens Discord with the best people in the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. And FC, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter or fastcart. You mostly find me here on Soul Citizens on Thursdays and Saturday and Sunday, depending on what the week is. But yeah, mostly on Twitter.
Okay, awesome. And again, thank you guys so much for being here with us this week. We appreciate you hanging out, sharing all the great stuff you guys shared in the chat as well. Again, hopefully you guys saw our announcement that we now stream on both Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. So please share, like, tell your friends, tell people about the show, let them know. We are approaching 2,000 followers. We are now at 1,970 followers. When we hit 2,000, we are going to give away a whole C on this show. 30 people away. 30 people away. So if you guys get us to that 2,000 mark, if it happens next week, we'll do the whole C next week. If it's the week after that, we'll do it then. I'm sure we're going to get those 30 followers by the end of July. So make sure you tune in over the next few weeks so you can be here for that giveaway for a whole C that we're going to do. And thank you guys so much for the follows, the subs today. Appreciate all the comments that were given. Kai, thank you again for just coming in and being a guest, a great guest as always. FC, thank you as well for co-hosting.
Yeah, thank you, Kai, and I'm going to get you to come to McDonald's with me.
I will hang out anywhere that fastcart is at, except for McDonald's.
Except for McDonald's. All right, we're going to do a raid to Pro Casadia. When you guys get over to Pro Casadia, give a shout out. If you like what you see, follow him. Let him know that you came from the Soul Citizens. And we're going to say to you, as we always do every week, take care of yourselves, stay healthy, peace, love, and soul. And we are out of here. Take care.
Nanu, nanu.
You killed me with that accent earlier.
Which one?